Hello, my name is Lisamarie Sanchez, and today I will be discussing the psychosocial development theory and the social emotional development theory. During my presentation, I will begin with Erikson's 8 stages of life and his design of the psychosocial development theory. And secondly, I will end the presentation with explaining the social emotional development theory and the key foundations that create this theory. Erik Erikson developed the psychosocial development theory. He believed that every individual had room for growth and personality throughout their life. This personality growth and individual growth was grown through society and culture. He also believed that a crisis could occur at any stage of your life, whether that's from the time you're born to the time you're an infant to a teenager, to your middle life to your elderly life. No matter how old, there was always something that could come up in your life that could create a crisis. Lastly, he believed that success and failure of each 8 stages of life could drastically affect the rest of your life. So now I will explain these 8 stages. The first stage is trust versus mistrust. This is from when a child is born up to 1 year old. This is the first relationships that they build with their parents and caregivers. This is where they have the ability to first interact with one another and to create that relationship. They understand what a positive relationship is and what a negative relationship is. Although these children may seem young at this point, they understand fully what it feels like to be well taken care of, to live in a stable home, and to feel nurtured 100% of the time. At this time, they develop the virtue of hope. This is where they are able to decide whether or not they can rely on others, whether they have hope in others, whether they can trust or perhaps can't trust others, whether that's their family members or their family members' close friends. They find that first desire of hope. A negative outcome of this trust, if trust is not built, a negative outcome is the fear and suspicion. This is wondering if somebody that will come to you in your life is a positive or negative outcome. This can create a feeling of uncertainty. The point of this stage is to build a security blanket. Children want to feel secure. They want to feel safe. They want to feel well taken care of. In this stage, trust and mistrust is where they first can rely on personal interactions and decide whether or not individuals for the rest of their lives are going to be a positive or negative resource. The second stage is autonomy versus shame and doubt. This is between the ages of 1 and 2 years old. At this point, they start to develop the virtue of independence or will. They become a little bit more, they create a personality for themselves. They begin to explore and find a sense of independence. They're much more outgoing. At this point, they've created a personality that makes themselves unique. In order for them to explore and to find out who they truly are, it is critical for parents to allow this process to happen. Although it is very important for parents to want to nurture and take care of their child, you don't want to be what many people call a helicopter parent. You want your child to be able to explore, to be able to find things out for themselves, and ask for help when needed, but not always relied. A negative outcome of autonomy versus shame and doubt is inadequacy, shame, or doubt. This is doubting yourself, whether or not you should believe in yourself, whether or not you should take that next step, whether or not your idea is worthy. At this time, they are able to decide whether or not they can become independent, define their personality, and define their uniqueness. The third stage is initiative versus guilt. This happens between the ages of 3 to 5 years old. At this time, they begin to feel more secure in their ability to lead others. The children that are more outgoing, will command themselves as leaders within their peers. At this time, they develop the virtue of purpose. They're trying to find their place in their little group. They want to make sure that they can be relied on by others, and group play is very important within this age group. They're able to develop social skills, interaction skills, and they're able to get to know one another and their peers. A negative outcome of this is a sense of guilt or inadequacy. This is where they believe that they're not good enough. Maybe they're guilty because they think that they're being too forthcoming. If a child is constantly being told no or being told to stop doing something, this can create a sense of guilt and perhaps slow their interaction with others. We want children to be able to express themselves, whether that's through dialogue, through expression, through any type of way that they feel most comfortable. We want that children to feel that they're able to do so. The fourth stage is industry versus inferiority. This happens between the ages of 6 and 12 years old. During this stage, they create the virtue of competence. They are wanting to look for approval. They want to make sure that people are watching what they are doing and that they're being appreciated for their work. Whether it's good or bad, they want to make sure that somebody's paying attention. At this stage, they begin to find a sense of pride in what they're doing, whether that's through academics, through athletics. They want to make sure that their work is being noticed. At this stage, once they are able to build a sense of pride and notoriety, their confidence is greatly improved. A negative outcome of this stage could be inferiority. This is the idea that they are less than, whether that's less than their peers or less than the expectations that they have for themselves. We want students to be able to reach for the stars. We want them to be the best person that they can be individually and in academics. However, we don't want them to be over the top. We want them to maintain a steady ground, and with this comes confidence and pride. The fifth stage is identity versus role confusion. This is between the ages of 12 to 15 years old. This is when the student begins to make an independent decision. They want to be left on their own. They want to be independent. They're able to become more of their adult person. At this time, many of the individuals are reaching teenage years, so their lives are a little bit more secretive. At this point, however, they begin to learn the rules of adulthood, things that are acceptable and things that are not, certain behavior that is accepted and certain behavior that is not. They also may begin to re-examine their identities. Who am I? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? A negative outcome of this is self-doubt, rebellion, or perhaps a feeling of unhappiness. If someone is doubtful of themselves, is unsure of what their purpose is in life, they will begin to doubt themselves. What am I actually doing? What do people want me to do? We want students not to ask the questions of what others want us to do, but what do we want to be doing for ourselves? How can we be the greater me? During these years, it is very important for these individuals to be able to express themselves and to be happy in doing so. Stage number 6 is intimacy versus isolation. This is the middle of your life, between the ages of 18 and 40 years old. At this point in time, people begin to look for relationships, long-lasting relationships that they can build on, that they can find through love, and that they can find commitment and care in a partner. They learn the virtue of love. This is wanting to find their other half, their better half, someone who understands them emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, in any way possible. They want to be sure that they can express themselves and that their expression is being understood. A negative outcome of this is a form of isolation or inability to create relationships. Relationships in every aspect of life are vital, whether that's in the classroom, whether that's in the workplace, especially within your family. Being able to rely on somebody to be there for you is one of the most important things that we can have in life. To have somebody through hard times, to have somebody through good times, it's always very important to build on relationships and to help those relationships grow. Stage number 7 is generativity versus stagnation. This is the later part of your years, 40 to 65 years old. At this point, we begin to think about we begin to care about others and think about ways we can give back. This develops the virtue of care. We begin to think about ways that we can give back to our community. One of these ways that many people believe in doing so is by having children, being able to raise smart individuals who can follow in their footsteps to lead a greater life. These are ways that people want to give back to the community. However, many people may also do so through work. And a negative outcome of this is a sense of being stuck or unproductive. We never want to feel as though we're not moving forward, whether that's in our teenage years or our adult life. We want to make sure that we are constantly progressing, individually, in the work life, in your relationship. We never want to be stuck in one place or feel as though we're not moving forward. Stage 8, the final stage, is 65 years to death. This is integrity versus despair. This is where we develop the virtue of wisdom. Thinking back on our life, whether it was productive or unproductive, did it meet our standards that we wanted it to? Did we achieve everything that we wanted to in life? We begin to contemplate the value of our life. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it worth living? A negative outcome of this stage is despair and dissatisfaction. If an individual believes that their life was unsatisfactory or unworthy, they can feel a sense of dissatisfaction that they did not complete their ultimate goal of living a healthy, successful life. We never want someone to feel this way. So being able to develop a sense of wisdom, to develop a sense of care, is vital in us being able to look back on our lives and be thankful and grateful for the life that we have been given. I am next going to talk about the social emotional development theory. This is the children's ability to express themselves, their ability to understand others, their ability to understand others' feelings and emotions, and their ability to grow and build on relationships. The social emotional development theory helps us regulate and manage personal feelings, for us to be able to understand those feelings, navigate our way through them, and ultimately manage them to react better or worse in certain situations. It also teaches us how to be sympathetic and understanding towards others, being able to understand their feelings. How should we react to them? How do we make those people feel better or worse? We want to make sure that we are treating everybody the same way that we would want to be treated. One of the key components of the social emotional development theory is adult interaction and adult relationships. These are vital for children to be able to understand and develop their way through. They help develop emotional security and stability. Just like Erickson's 8 stages, adult interaction was the first thing that we got to experience in our lives. They are the first people that we see, our parents or our caregivers. An effective or ineffective nurturance can ultimately result in a positive or negative lifespan. If there is an effective sense of nurturance and security, the child will develop and grow vitally. They will feel a sense of protection, and they will be able to understand their emotions, and that it is okay to express those emotions. An ineffective ability of this nurturance can drastically affect the way a person lives the rest of their lives. They will hold in certain emotions and they will not be able to express them. However, we learn to deal with others, and not only family members, but also members that are close to them. We learn what is an okay interaction and what is not. What is that sense of stability and what isn't. Second key foundation is peer interaction and peer relationships. This is where students begin to branch out and interact with their peers. They learn social behavior and social interaction. They're able to pick up on individuals' behaviors, and they can do this by problem solving, experimenting, cooperation, sharing. This develops a social interaction and a social understanding for others around you. This can also be developed through playing a part in different roles, whether that's through group interaction. Being able to understand that you are not the only person in the room is vital for children's growth. This is also the stepping stone of building relationships. Being able to understand how people process, being able to understand how they feel is vital in being able to build relationships and maintaining those relationships. A third foundation is self-regulation and identity to self. This is being able to adapt to social situations. What is appropriate and what isn't. This is also being able to understand and comprehend other people's feelings and thoughts. How am I going to react to that? What am I going to say? How do I make this person feel better about themselves? Being able to regulate emotions, whether it's personally or through a friend, is very important in how you react in a certain situation, whether you make somebody feel more comfortable or less comfortable about themselves. The last is recognition of ability, being able to develop a sense of self, a sense of purpose. This is where you want to feel important. What is my purpose? What is my worth? An effective strategy of this is being able to express themselves. An ineffective can hold somebody back and keep them inside. We always want people to feel expressive and being able to say how they truly feel.